Cool.
Yeah,
Now
man.
we
Good
are
to see you.
fully
You look like
present in
you're
the moment. Yeah.
you look like you're in a rave right now. I want to be where you are.
I got this new light so I can hit the button and start pulsing and doing the whole rave thing. But yeah, no, this is the setup here. I like what you got going on there too with the newly finished basement, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. It's my body is hiding most of my kids' stuff right now, but it's just everywhere. But it's okay.
That's great. So for those who don't know you, just introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah. Joe Charles. I'm a real estate agent in Northern New Jersey. Lived in Northern New Jersey my whole life. Got into real estate about 6 years ago. Yeah, I'm from Wayne. Grew up in Nutley, live in Little Falls right now, and yeah, just trying to help people out as best I can. And working together with you has been great so far. I think we got a really good team going on right now to
Likewise.
really help buyers out. Get that edge to get those properties they want, especially in today's market, how crazy it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And likewise, it's awesome working with you, man. And I was really excited to have you on the podcast so we could talk about, well, your story coming into real estate a little bit, but mostly after you sent me the article that you wrote. That was so awesome, bearing the lead a little bit. But, we want to talk a little bit more today about 38 Birchwood, the
Yeah.
new construction, which I think you mentioned to me, someone reached out from NJ.com or something. It was like one of the highest sold homes in Passaic County.
Yeah, NorthJersey.com reached out to me, and I thought the sale was pretty interesting, for what it sold for. Being it was absolutely stunning new construction house. And I was going to reach out to them to see if they wanted to copy my article and maybe I could publish it. And they called me and said, yeah, your house, this sale is the highest sold in Passaic County for June. So we want to write about it. So I sent them some pictures and sent them the article, and it was really cool, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
yeah,
man. That's
that,
great.
yeah, that's really nice to I mean, I didn't even think that would be the highest sold in the month, but I mean, here we are. It's what it
Yeah.
is.
Well, I mean, for those listening, go ahead and check out. I think the listing photos are at least still up online, right? For people to check out. It is a gorgeous home.
Oh yeah, it's one of the nicest designed houses too. The builder I work with, he's a legit perfectionist when it comes to building the house. He does go the extra mile. Everything from the foundation, waterproofing, like all the stuff that you don't look at and you don't see, that you don't know what your builder's doing. This guy does the extra steps. So the house not only came out, solid as a rock, but his architect made such a great design, like a really nice floor plan. The house was 4,200 square foot of living, which is a really nice sized house, but it had a very connected feeling to it, and which I love and I think a lot more people are looking for that now. They don't just want these monstrous homes that are very disconnected. They still want that cozy feel, but to have the room too and the space. So,
Right. And normally that is part of the struggle, right? When you
mm,
are talking about the homes that are 3,000 square feet and up,
mm,
they do have a propensity to be a little bit expansive, right? And not
yeah,
having that cozy feel. So
mhm,
this home, you're saying it was really well designed to still
yeah,
have that, right?
yeah. I wish I could show it to you, but it's sold now, so I don't have the
Yeah.
keys anymore.
Yeah.
But I actually did a really cool video about it, which should be coming out soon. It was actually the video was intended to sell the thing, and we sold it before it completed, which was also amazing. I kind of
Awesome.
I call it soft listings. If you kind of it wasn't fully ready. Appliances weren't in. Some molding had to go in. There was still some items. Grass wasn't there, and but I was preparing it, and but I was allowing showings. It was on the list on the MLS, but a lot more renderings than actual photos. And reaching out to some people, agents, whatever. I kept having people come through. Unfortunately, I kept telling people too, not to get off topic, but I just kept saying, listen, this house is not going to last. If I put this on the market and stage it, it's going to be a battle for this house. You could see how great it is. And people didn't want to listen. But one family did. They saw it 3 times, and it brought in an offer, cash also. And yeah, and they got it. So good for
Wow.
them. Good for my
So
builder.
yeah, that's awesome to get
Yeah.
out, get it sold that quickly too. So what was from the moment that you soft listed it to when it was sold, how long of a time was that?
It was maybe 22 days, something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, it wasn't really that long. It felt longer. It felt longer
Yeah.
because I was, because I was getting a lot of showings. I had to go to the house a lot and do all the showings in person because you really want to point out things to people because sometimes people are very distracted in just like the surface level things. So I wanted to be there and talk about the how the build went and all that kind of stuff and really touch all those points for those people. And so it was a lot of work just for that. But yeah, sure enough, man, we ended up getting it, and we sold it for 1.7 million
Whoa.
cash offer, which is, I can't beat that.
Quite hats off to you, man. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Congratulations again. And that market too, which this is luxury market we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That is amazing for that kind of speed. And also I'm thrilled for your clients that bought it because like that's, you know, listening and following your advice obviously really helped them out here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that sometimes it's part of the noise where they're like, it's a bit of a strategy to tell
Mhm.
people, oh no, create the urgency type of a thing.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
mean, you're sharing the story. That's what's really special about this, and
Mhm.
that's what translated through with that article you wrote. So, could we rewind a little bit? I'd like to learn more a bit about the process of like seeing the potential of this property.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about like what did it feel like and look like at the onset, and then getting things kicked off?
Yeah, sure. So if you want to see the photos, I think exclusively right now, the majority of the photos and the old photo is on my website. It's Joe Charles NJ, like New Jersey.com.
Okay.
Just look for the article about 38 Birchwood. And you could see the old photos of the house and what it became. So this builder and we've been trying to work together for a while, and eventually, he was freed up and he was able to work on something big. And so I started looking, and I love Wayne. I'm from Wayne. I think Wayne is it's such a nice area to live. It's kind of like I call this area like the heart of New Jersey too, the heart of northern New Jersey at least, because you have such easy access to New York City, to Morristown.
Oh yeah.
If you're traveling, to Connecticut or something, like all the major highways are here. So it's a nice place to be. And Wayne's a very nice town, lakes and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So I found this house. This house looked like it was eaten. It was it was
Oh
it was a
goodness.
it was a mess. Most of the roof was off. The porch in the back had no walls, but there was no toilet, no appliances, nothing inside. And and people still wanted it though, because the way this market is, even a property like that is still in demand. And the guy listed it right. I think it was listed for 399. And the biggest selling point to that house, and what I would tell people too, if you're looking to build a house, you really lot size, I think, is the most important thing, because you
Hmm.
get a lot of flexibility. And this house was 100 by almost 200.
Oh.
So that's a massive that
Uh,
in northern New Jersey standards, at least like east of like Wayne, that's a lot of property. That's a lot of
oh
land.
yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up getting it. We ended up beating out a few other people, and yeah, construction began. And his original plan was to square off the house and work off of that house, but because the lot was so great, we ended up pushing the house about 50 feet back, so it was a little more away from the street. Added a circular driveway, and there was still a yard that was a 100 by 100 feet, which is,
Whoa.
yeah, incredible to
Yeah.
find that, especially with a new construction house.
Absolutely. And in this area of New Jersey with that much space and
Mhm.
land.
Yeah.
When it came to the design of the home, though, I remember reading there's a little bit of a story with that too. Did he model it after a local property, was it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, right. And that's the other thing, too. Like, I thought it was really important, too. And he agreed. If you're going to build a new construction house in a town, it should really match the town, right? You don't want to build a spaceship in the middle of
Yeah.
that's at least my opinion. If people if you like contemporary, go for it. But I think the house had to look like it belonged.
Right.
And the best way to do that is you look at the other houses that are there. So
Yeah.
I drove around, he drove around. We took pictures of a couple of houses that we thought would stand out and would work, and we found one a couple blocks away. And kudos to that family, because it was a gorgeous layout. And then
Yeah.
we just modified it a little bit, added a little, added those three circular windows, if you remember, up in the
Yes,
attic, which
that's
adds
right.
a little nice kind of, it adds a little something to the
A
house to
little
make it.
character to just this
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
exactly. And but still, the house looks like it belongs. I mean, you drive by it, you look at it, you notice that it's a nice big house, but you're just like, man, it doesn't look out of sorts. It doesn't look like it doesn't belong there. So
Yeah.
that was really important to us.
That's great. I think that's brilliant too. Because you could build this monstrosity of a beautiful thing, but if it's not like anything else on the block,
Hmm.
you're limiting your pool, right? The people's
Yeah,
taste is going to be
right.
has to be that
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. And
Uh,
you don't want to upset the neighbors in the town either, you know.
yeah.
You don't want to be the builder that puts some ugly or just some out of sorts house. So, it's about the neighbors too. I think it's really important that they appreciate the house because it's their neighborhood.
Yeah. And the
So
domino effect for them, right? They have this beautiful new construction down the street. That's got to be helping their neighborhood and the values
yeah.
in that
Yeah.
neighborhood.
I'm sure they're all very happy to see what it sold for too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're doing good work for the whole community over there,
Yeah,
Joe.
right. Yeah. Right.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, man.
So talking more into the design now, so the actual layout, was there
Mhm.
any thoughtful consideration to accomplish what you mentioned earlier about that homey feel in a 4,000 square foot home?
I have to give a lot of credit to the architect. A lot of it was his design, and it was fantastic. But the nice thing about the builder that I was mentioning, he recognized a couple of things that as you're building, you start realizing, you know what, this doesn't really belong. Like for example, the pantry. He had a The architect had a massive pantry, and it was bumped out from the kitchen. And when it was framed out, the builder's like, "You got to come here and look at this." He's like, "Does this look like this makes sense? Should this be here?" And we were both like, "No, no,
Mm,
it's taking away from the space of the kitchen. This doesn't make sense. Nobody needs a pantry this big." So we cut it in half, moved it into the hallway where the butler pantry was, and it just made so much more sense because now you had the kitchen and the living room as one big square room as instead of like this jetted out room it didn't make sense.
yeah.
Like another great idea he had, there was a closet upstairs when you walked up to the second floor, and he was just like, why is this closet here? This doesn't make sense. So he just removed it completely, and instead that's where he put the toilet into the master, and then did a half wall, and then added a linen closet, which wasn't in the primary already. So he recognized these things that they needed to be added that just add so much more to the functionality of the house. They're things that people would want more than people would want a bigger kitchen than a larger pantry, for example. So
Right.
it was smart. It was smart on him to recognize that.
Yeah. And it sounds like that was a collaborative effort too. So were you involved in those conversations a lot when there was
Oh
some
yeah,
things that
yeah. No, like that's what I like about him too. He takes what I because I see a lot of houses too. Like most realtors do. I think I do have a little bit of a better eye when it comes to certain things. Just I don't know. I like that aspect of it, a little more creativeness to understanding how things flow and work. And so, yeah, he came up with that idea. I just kind of agreed with him. I did tell him he should have added a bathroom into the bedroom that's next to the primary bedroom because I was like, listen, anybody's moving in here, they're probably gonna have a little baby. They're gonna want a tub to wash their baby. Nobody's gonna wash. You don't want to wash your baby in your own room bathroom every night. So let's replace that and turn that into a tub at least. So he did do that, which was nice. He didn't like that idea. He's like, everybody wants stand up. I'm like, it's been a while since you had kids. I have a 6-year-old.
yeah.
Like, I know they're gonna appreciate a tub there.
Great
So
point. That's a great
yeah.
point.
So yeah, it's little things like that that just add a little extra to the house, and because you always want that family that's going to buy it in mind, not only
Yeah.
because it's going to make them happier, but it's going to make you're going to sell it better. Of course, it's going to be more sellable. So um, yeah, and that's why I like touring people because you point out things like that to people. Because a lot of times I'd
No.
be like, oh, and the tub's here in case this is where your youngest is, and they go, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so
So
going into it from like a marketing perspective, that telling the story and these types of things, that sounds like it was kind of your primary mode of really selling this home to
yeah,
people. So you want to tell me a little bit more about the marketing strategy there, because I think it's brilliant taking this approach that's telling the whole story so people are invested
Yeah.
in this property, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, first I had to get people in the door. That was a little tricky because when you don't have photos up and you have a house that's listed so high, in a town where this is like kind of like the upper end, and it's not in one of the lake communities, that was a little bit to overcome. But I do reach out to people personally. I'll make phone calls, reaching out to people. I reached out to all the agents I know in the area. I'll call them personally just to get the word out. Say, hey, listen, you should really come and see this house. And then once that happens, it's on me, I think, because he's hiring me to help him sell his home to
Hmm.
make that effort, walk those people through the home, point out features, point out what they could do. Like for example, in the first floor bedroom, there's an office right next to it, which we would consider an office, but some people might have family living with them. So I said, hey, listen, if you plan on having family members stay here, you could open up the wall in between the office and the bedroom and turn that into a living room for your extended. Now you could make it legitimately a nice, spacious second family or extended room for a family member with a full bath. They had a walk-in closet, and then
Amazing.
the garage access is right there too. So I'm like,
Yeah.
they could also have their own private way out, and if you wanted to, you could punch a hole out in the side of the house, make a door there, just so now they have a door instead of going through the garage. So it's things like
Right.
that you kind of want to, you have to open people's minds sometimes and give them some vision because not every house is perfect
Right.
for anyone. Doesn't matter what the price point is. There's always going to be something that somebody will look at it and say, well, I wish it had this. And then I think it's my job to say, well, it actually can have that. This is what you should do. And now it'll be
Mm.
that. And like you watch the light bulb go off
It's like,
and, uh,
oh
and like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh, the wall could be open.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that goes to show why it sold in 22 days.
Yeah.
That
I
you're taking
mean,
that care and that attention to detail for everybody.
yeah, man. Hopefully, hopefully I contributed to that. But yeah, I think this house was perfect for these people. They've been looking for a long time, so I'm happy for them that they found something too, so that they could call home. And
Yeah.
I think everybody's happy in this situation.
Can't get better than that,
Yeah,
right?
man.
That's
Absolutely.
great. That's great. So, all right, we talked about a lot of the good stuff. You got this beautiful home sold in 22 days. Well, now let's
Mm.
talk about some of the challenges.
Yeah.
Where were some of the challenges here in this process?
Uh, well, new construction, big challenge is always work, getting the town on board and getting your approvals done. That's always a process. Being as uh, nice as can be with the town is always very helpful. But also listening to their demands, I think that's super important. So if you
Hmm.
are planning on building a house or even some of you contractors, I mean, it goes a long way to really pay attention to the needs of the town, try to show up as much as you can. Like I was there twice a week, helping my guy out to like,
Oh,
hey, are
cool.
we missing anything? Do you need anything? And sure enough, one out of three times I'd show up and they'd say, oh, you know what? You guys didn't have a signature on this, or you know what? There was a form you missed. And okay, no problem. Take care of it. Same day. And we got our approvals done in 2 months, which is which is
That's great.
that's really fast. That's
That's
really fast.
incredibly fast. For those who don't have a reference for that, that is outstanding work.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quick. So
Yeah.
So yeah, and then so I mean the challenges, with the build and everything, that wasn't on my side. I'm not a builder in no way. But getting that whole process done, um, um, yeah, I mean that's really the gist of it. It took about a year to build.
Okay.
Um, I would say from purchase to near completion, it was about a year. I think we bought it in May, had to started demoing the old house in August and then it was pretty much done by February, March. But things slowed down a little bit. He had other projects going on. We
Okay.
didn't have it sold yet. Plus, we were waiting for the spring market if we were going to launch it truly successfully. Waiting for the spring where the grass is green and all that kind of stuff was the best time. We were targeting to really like list it truly.
Right.
But thankfully, we didn't have to get to that point. So
Yeah,
save some staging money too. That was nice.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask about that, but the timing was the game plan always to get in for a spring market? Because I know this spring had a couple hiccups in the market because of news, things going on in
Mm,
the world and the economy. So
yeah.
was that ever a factor for you in the builder in the process and getting things
I
prepared?
it did play a little bit, yeah. Because I mean, you do have to pivot a lot sometimes. The market's not always what it is. Like if somebody wants to list a house in 2 months, like showing them what the market looks like right now isn't going to be helpful. You have to look at what the market
Yeah.
is when you're listing. So I think the market when it took that hit in March, I think it was, um, that certainly made us push up listing it early. Like we didn't really plan on listing it when we listed it. But
Oh,
because the way the market moved a little bit, we were like, let's just list it now and see what happens and get it out there to people and see if we could catch someone. And because we weren't sweating it because we knew the house was going to work out so well when we listed it. But we were just like, it just makes sense because we don't know where the market is going. So as many people didn't really know, a lot of volatility and
yeah.
uncertainty. Um, so that's what we did.
Yeah, let's tell me more about that because that I can't even imagine. I can't wrap my head around trying to price a home a year from now. Like getting a
Yeah.
sense, especially the way the past 3 years have been, because you
Hmm.
don't really have, at least from my opinion, you don't really have a reference point. You
Hmm.
got in the state of New Jersey, what was it, like 10% cumulative annual growth rate on median home sale
Yeah.
for
Right.
3 years straight?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it
How,
is
tell
really
me
hard.
more. How do you do this?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of risk. I mean, really more on the builder's part, and he was
Okay.
the builder and the owner. So I mean, there's a lot of risk involved, and I don't know if people appreciate that so much when it comes to the builders because some of their sale prices, what's cooked in is their risk too. Into those
Yeah.
sale prices. So you have to kind of factor that in, and they have to hope the market doesn't just tank on them, halfway through the build or wood skyrockets, in the middle and you didn't even get the foundation in yet. It's like there's nothing you could do. But the market's been healthy enough and consistent enough that it did make sense to get it going. The design, I think, as I said too, we were going to square off the house and maybe go around 3,500 square foot, but he decided he wanted something much bigger. And so we actually left some wiggle room. We could have maxed it out, I think, at 46 or 4,700 square feet, but we pulled it back a little bit, which I think made sense. And
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, going back to the market, you don't know really, as anyone. And I know a lot of people have been out there waiting for better circumstances to happen, and they still haven't. They're still waiting for people still think rates are going to go down to 3%, and that's when they're going to buy. I know you see that a lot, and it's just
Always.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's become less and less, but you're right. The conversation still happens from time to time. Now I'm at the point where it shocks me when
when
that
they say it,
happens. When they say that, I'm like, oh no 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 no
yeah.
no. You
No,
don't want that. Trust me,
yeah,
you don't
I
want
know.
that.
Yeah, yeah, right. If that's
Yeah.
happened, yeah, it's not a good situation.
Right. Yeah. And I think I shared with you before. It's like if 3% is the mortgage rate, your mortgage is going to be the last thing on your mind
Yeah,
because that
right.
means on the periphery there's a mess happening. It's
Yeah, right.
bad
Yeah,
because pulling that lever in 2008 that's a one and done situation. Having to
yeah,
do that again is
hmm,
that's tricky. And we don't
yeah,
know how that would have long-term effects. We still don't know the long-term effects of 2008 at this point. But
yeah,
what we
right.
do know is that an artificially lower rate environment creates a stalemate in real estate,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's wild, man. And I don't really blame people because they lived through it and then they feel like they missed. And it's like, oh, I'll just hit the next one. And then
Yeah.
I remember researching that interest rates, the last time they hit 3.5% in the last 100 years was never,
Yeah.
except for the time it happened.
One time.
Yeah,
The one time in 2008,
yeah,
that was the only time in American history.
yeah,
Yes.
right. So it's like, yeah, that's so if you look at it from that perspective, then they go, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
But we'll see what happens when the rates go down. I mean, I hope they actually do. Um, but I also don't think things are going to get better on pricing. I think. my opinion.
No, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. Tell me more about that. Where do you think
Yeah.
things are going from a pricing perspective?
Um, I mean, I would love to see the Feds drop their rates. Then I really think they should. We're at what are we 2.4 inflation, and they've been wanting 2% forever, and we're almost there. And they're like, we're going to sit and wait. That part I don't understand.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I've gone full on my soapbox over the past 2 weeks talking about this, um, because I researched it, and essentially the shelter component of inflation in
mhm,
both of the major inflation gauges is part of the reason why we're above 2%.
yeah, right.
So, and then I think there was someone from the National Association of Realtors that I saw a post last month where they were like, we've reached a point where the Fed's probably going to have to lower their rate for us to see 2% inflation. And I was just like, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
That's where we're at right now.
yeah, right. And it's like, you know what? If you lower it and it gets bad, put it right back to where it was. You know?
Right. And what is bad? What does
Yeah,
bad look
yeah, and
like?
define bad. Exactly. Define bad.
Right? Like
Or bad for
we're
whom? Bad for who?
there it is. Not what's the bad, who's it bad for? I'm much
Yeah.
more interested in that.
Yeah, right.
A
And
hundred
oh,
percent.
yeah, but to go back to like talking about like what's going to happen if the rates go down for mortgage rates, I'm talking about now. There is so much pent up demand from the buyer perspective that once, I mean, so if you look at the market, I wrote about this too in another article. It was in November, if I remember right, last year. The rates looked like they were going to go below 6%. Like it was trending that way. I'm sure you
Yep.
remember that. And
January 2024.
yeah, and all of a sudden there was a spike in inventory and a spike in pending sales, and I was like, "Oh, here we go! Like things are changing." And then the Feds dropped their rate. I think it was a quarter. I think it was 25 basis points at that time, and it halted everything. And you could see the spike, and then you could line it up with when they dropped their basis points. It just dropped right back down.
Oh, you're talking about September
Yeah, I'm talking
last
about
year.
September. Yeah, it was September,
Because
November ish.
August, July, and August were amazing. That was
Yeah.
the lowest rate environment that we saw, other than the beginning of 24. Because the
Hmm.
beginning of 24, that was the first time. It was December of 23. Inflation showed the best progress down that we've seen, and
Yeah.
there was more of a trend. So
Right.
everyone thought, we're done. The Fed's going to
Yeah.
lower by 200 basis points. We're going to have 4.5% interest rates again.
Yeah.
And then one bad inflation report in February, I think, toppled it. But
Yeah.
then it got better in August
Hmm.
because everyone was expecting that rate cut. But then the
Hmm.
problem was it's not even about what the actual Fed rate is. I can tell you right now, lower rates don't necessarily need to be created by the Fed. All that
Yeah.
we need is that people are going to expect lower rates. Even if it's 6 months from now, you'll have lower rates now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Because
that's the
they figure they'll refi or something.
yeah, or even just it's market speculation that's really driving it,
Yeah.
right? The
True.
mortgage rates are attached to parts of the market, right?
Mhm.
There's actually I saw an infographic when I first got in the industry, and it looked like a map, and it was 15 different categories of things that affect interest rates. And like some of them were like geopolitical things and like stuff that you were like, what? Yeah, it does. All
Yeah.
these things have an effect on it.
Hmm.
So I think it's just going to be a matter of what does the inflation and jobs look like? And then the Fed's going to make their decision on it. July, right now, no one expects a Fed rate cut. But people are pricing in 50-50 chance
Yeah.
right
Oh,
now.
is it 50-50 right now?
That's
Nice.
where they're at. 50-50 for September. If we
Mm-hmm.
see a cooler inflation report for the next couple, then expect that to happen. And one of the problems in the summertime is that in the market, algorithms are running everything. So interest
Yeah.
rates get a little more volatile for the better or for worse when
Hmm.
we get into July, August. Because
Hmm.
any little data point that these algorithms are engineered for tips it, then all of them follow suit. And then little swings become big
Yeah.
swings. And then
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's just a little bit that affects the algorithm.
it could be a headline. The
Yeah.
computers are getting so much more,
Yeah. Right.
sophisticated.
Yeah. Yeah. And the scary thing is it depends what headline they're reading too, like if it's
Yeah.
an opinion piece and it's from some maniac who doesn't really know what's going on and it pulls that data in, it'll ruin everything. So
Yeah.
that's a whole other topic. But
Totally. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You
But I
know,
mean,
but
I just don't understand why they went from, what was it, in 2023? They had all these high expectations of doing all these cuts in 2024 because they expected inflation to drop, drop, and drop, and it didn't really do any of that. And then they cut it anyway towards the end of the year because they promised like 8 cuts or something, and I think they only did 3 last year. And
correct.
now
Yeah.
this year, we're almost at 2%. We're at 2.3 and then 2.4 or something like that. And they're just like, yeah, we're going to hang out and wait. It's like, here's the actual thing is happening now, not the speculation thing. The thing is
You're
happening.
100% right.
And you don't want to cut. Why? We're going to see. So, and then going back to that. So like if the rates do go down, if mortgage rates go down, you have all this pent up buyers that are sitting on the sidelines waiting for those better rates so things are more affordable so their dollar goes a lot further in buying a house. And then on top of that, you have sellers that are doing the same thing because there's a lot of sellers that don't want to be in their homes anymore. Whatever the case is, they're outgrown it, their kids are gone, they want to downsize, they want to upsize, whatever that case is. There's a lot of sellers I've spoken to that want to sell, but then they just say, where am I going to go?
Right.
For what I'm paying my mortgage, I'm going to be paying so much more for probably just a little bit better, a little bit more than what I want. And it's not worth it to them. So those sellers will also become buyers. So all the buyers waiting are going to come in. All the sellers that want to sell are also going to be buyers. So what's that going to do to the prices of homes? It's gonna make them pop up more until it's gonna take a while. I think that'll be a
Mm.
short term problem. Or who knows, maybe a year or two out. I think we spoke about that before. But
Yeah.
it's gonna last a while until finally enough of the sales have happened and enough of the homes that have been listed get bought up and things kind of start slowing down a little bit more. But that's gonna be crazy. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But
We got a taste of it, like you said. We got a
yeah.
taste of it the last time the rates were very favorable, and that was not even like a really meaningful drop in
Hmm.
interest rates. That
Yeah.
was approaching 6%
Yeah.
and
Right.
under,
Yeah.
so that's a chaos that we don't have a reference for.
Yeah, right.
And I
No.
also wonder if it's going to be super chaotic. I think a lot of it will depend on the cadence of the rates going down. If it becomes something where rates gradually drop,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably going to be the best thing for our market to just
Yeah,
absorb the change. Some sellers will get off the fence, some sellers won't, some
yeah,
buyers are going to get back in. But I think you made a great point there too. Because of the pent up demand, any buyers who even see that interest rates, like in my opinion, if they see interest rates are more favorable, they can buy the home that they desire for their budgeted monthly payment and whatnot. Don't wait because, like you said, your competition's going to double when the
yeah,
rates are in a great position, and you're
yeah,
going to wind up paying a premium to be competitive again,
yeah, right. Yeah. It's like
right?
when you think it's a good time to buy, so is everyone else.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's like
it's the time where other people are uncertain that you've got to take advantage
yeah, right,
because that's
right. It's
normally
like
leading up to the time,
yeah,
right?
it's like if you're talking about Bitcoin, right? When people want to buy Bitcoin, they only want to
Yeah.
buy it when it's in the news and in the headlines, and like as they say, the old saying, like, oh, even the doorman's talking about it. It's like if he's talking about it and he knows about it, then it's either time to pull out
Oh yeah.
or not buy, because it's like, yeah, it's funny how that happens. It's like trying to time the market is like the worst thing to try to do. I think that's good advice for anybody. Look, if it's time to sell or it's time to buy and you could afford it, then you should be doing it. Like, don't worry about timing the market and
Right.
trying to find that perfect moment because the perfect moment isn't really there. And
Right.
I remember somebody gave me really good advice about stocks, and it's actually pretty true. Where they say it's not really your timing in the market; it's your time in the market. You know,
Yes.
so
100%.
and I think that's solid. That's solid advice right there. So
Totally. And the examples are there for us. I did a
mhm.
video I want to say about 5 months ago, and I was talking, it was a case study of someone that I helped, actually, a family I was helping, and they purchased the home, and then they just a year later had to sell, and the amount of equity that they gained was insane.
Hmm.
But they knew when they went to buy that house, they had to negotiate, and they went up like I think it was $5,000 or $10,000, and it got them the home. And that $5,000 or $10,000 a year before captured them like $35,000 to $40,000 more in equity. And then there was someone who commented on the video, and he was like, "Yeah, I got priced out. I didn't want to increase my bid by $5,000. Now I have to pay $25,000 over what that home is now worth
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get what I'm looking for."
Right.
And so you couldn't be, in my opinion, you're spot on the money. You can't time the market. You can just be in it for the right amount of time, or however your time horizon should dictate to you, the type of risk you're taking. But also, I have this concept that if you're buying a house to live in, it's not like you're a real estate investor. You're not. You've just decided to take your housing cost and make it something that you're building equity in, not an investment.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
investments, there is a return when you sell, very likely, historically, over any 30-year time period, I think it is, right? Or maybe it may even be shorter than that, but over any 30-year time period, you don't see a decline in home values other than the one big crash, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
If anybody you watching this, just look at the trends of home prices in the last since like 1980. I think it's like when they were really started tracking it. I think
they did.
you just see it's just up. It's so you can't really go wrong. It's home, it's property. There's only so much of it, and
Right.
especially if you want to live in the area that you already live. Unless you want to go out into some state where they're starting to build out. That's a different story, but. Here in northern New Jersey, like it's not going to change the environment here. So
do you find that it's a bit of a struggle sometimes managing the dissonance, because a lot of the national mainstream news outlets are talking about it's now. I saw an article, home values are going down because we're an anomaly in the Northeast. Boston, Chicago, Denver, those markets are all outliers. Most of the rest of the country, home values are going down, and homes are being, listings are expiring much more commonly. Homes are not selling, but we are in a market that's super desirable. So do you find that there's a dissonance sometimes, or are people starting to get like worried that home values are going to go down because they see it on the news?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. And it makes sense too, because a lot of people tend to read national news and not so much local news. But at least I mean, I would think. But it is hard to separate the two. I write a newsletter every week, and I think, as you know, and in my newsletter, I actually have a note that says that I decided to start comparing the U.S. market to New Jersey. And you could just see the vast difference in home pricing. And I have a note there that says, New Jersey is not the country. Just so really point it out to people. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a map, too, you could pull up. I just saw it the other day. I'll have to find it for you. It's a map of the whole United States. And like light blue is like where homes are going down, let's say, and dark red is where values are going up. And just around New Jersey and New York, it's this huge red bubble, and everywhere else is just like not red, except maybe here and there. But I think even Californians are moving here, which is surprising. We're getting West Coasters. Somebody down the street from me just moved there. They came back from Arizona. They're like, "Oh yeah, no, we came here. Arizona's we don't want to be there anymore." I was like, okay.
Interesting. I was thinking that the film industry is going to start doing that because of Fort Monmouth.
There's a couple. I think the Major League Baseball, I know they're moving. I mean, they're still here. It's a caucus. I think they're going to Elmwood Park. I think New Jersey's trying to get more into get more movies filmed here. So I don't know, man. But
when you think about it too, it's comparable.
Yeah.
Right. Like you get seasons here.
Yeah.
It's really like New Jersey gets a bad rap, but like it's really one of the best states in the country with respect to like you get everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have everything.
And everything's close.
Exactly.
You want to go skiing, you want to go skiing, you want to go hiking, you want to go camping, you want to go fishing. We have nature here. I know a lot of people laugh when they hear the Garden State because they're flying into Newark. Yeah, and you got Elizabeth and all the industrial stuff going on over there. But no, man, there's a lot to do. Lots of farms and wineries and
breweries and Yeah. Shore points, take your
Yeah.
pick up and down the whole state.
Yeah.
You know, like desirable places to go for a day, and
Exactly.
you can get them, you can get there in a very reasonable amount of time.
Hmm.
And but then again, like no, New Jersey sucks. We don't have enough room for other
Oh
people from
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah,
states.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. You don't want to.
no, you don't
You
want to
don't
be
want
here in
to.
Jersey. It sucks.
Yeah, right.
We
Yeah,
are
yeah,
busting at the seams, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, I mean, you living in Wayne and I'm over in Totowa here. It's congestion city. It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
summer's always a really nice time because at
Hmm.
least like the pockets of traffic are random. But when you know there's school's in session,
Yeah.
it can get really brutal.
Oh
It can
yeah,
get
especially when schools are in. Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny too that New York Times wrote an article about Little Falls, and
No
like
way.
everybody in the town was like, how do we burn that? How do we delete that off of the internet?
Oh
Because
gosh.
yeah, because it's such a great town. I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't be saying this. Cut this. Don't save this. But it is such a nice town, and I love it. I actually love it here. It's
Yeah.
quiet. It's got everything you could want. So people are super super nice. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. So
That's fascinating. I
yeah,
didn't catch that.
that's between you and me though.
It's between us then. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's wild.
So
So then,
yeah, I mean, yeah, the market's the market. And one thing I'll say too, since we're talking about new construction, we'll probably wrap this up, but
yeah.
um, there's some advice I would give a buyer too, which I'll say to people, it's to each their own. Whatever you want, that's fine. But going back to timing the market, when if you're buying something, you have to know what market you're in too. I think that's very important. So we've been in a seller's market for 4 years.
Mm.
And so you have to also recognize that as a buyer. If you're buying gold or whatever, if gold, or let's say you're buying comic books and like the new Marvel movie just came out, if you're going to go buy comic books at that time, like, it's not exactly the best move. Maybe you could buy it, but you got to expect you're paying premium prices and not lower prices. So the same thing goes for housing.
Right.
So we're in a seller's market, so they have more of the power. So you can't expect a deal, especially on a nice house, like a house that's well built, brand new, renovated. It checks all of your boxes. Guess what? Your boxes are probably just like everybody else's boxes, which means it's even more in demand. So you're gonna have to pay the premium. Stop trying to get a deal on these homes. But the other thing I like to tell people that who are looking for fully renovated homes is I like to tell them, look, if you buy a fully renovated home, that's fine, but you understand you're going to pay a premium. It might take a little longer for you to get your equity back in that house. If you buy something that's maybe move-in ready, but there's a bathroom that needs updating, maybe the basement's partially finished, where you could do these things. Now you could buy a house at a better price, so your monthly mortgage that never changes is going to be lower, right? So you're going to save on that. Take the money you're saving from buying the premium house and start budgeting to do your updates, turn it into the bathroom you always wanted, the bedroom you always wanted, the finished basement. And look, my house, I bought a house with an unfinished basement and I just finished it, and I love it. Designed it exactly how I wanted it. And, I love it. Nobody else would have did it the way I did it.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and I mean, my timing, in the market just happened to be when I was ready to buy a house. It was a good time, but still, like, I gained so much equity by doing these things in this house. I have so much more in this house than if I bought a brand new home when I bought it. That makes sense.
Totally.
So, and then the other thing I like to tell people too, if you're looking for a fully renovated home, understand that in 10 years, your entire house is going to be out of date.
Yes.
Things will start falling apart all at the same time too. So just be careful with that. And if that's what you want, that's what you want. But I like to bring that to people's attention, because sometimes they go, "Oh wow, oh really? Oh, I didn't really think about it like that. I'm just thinking about the now." I was like, if you're gonna live here for 10, 20, 30 years, you should think about that a little bit more.
Totally.
So I don't know. That's
Great
just my
advice.
thought on that's my whole thought on the buying process. So
It's great
just
advice, and it goes to the creativity you got to have. You got to
yeah,
have that vision in this
yeah.
market, and that's where you're going to probably be the most successful, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, right, exactly, and that's why you should work with a realtor like me,
Absolutely.
Just a
Yeah.
little pitch there. But I do like to do that with people. I'll say, hey, look, you needed another bedroom, you wanted a bigger closet. Well, you know what? There's probably space between this room and that room. This looks like dead space, especially like the older houses. Like you could easily open this up, turn this into a bigger closet. You could easily open this wall, do this and do that. And and like I think that I like doing that. It actually, I like opening people's eyes to realize that, hey, you know what? They could buy a house for a little less and just put a little bit more effort into it. And I could connect them with, with contractors and stuff like that too, that are professional, will get the job done right. And I like to surround myself with good people, to, be the best resource I possibly can for people. So there's my pitch.
Beautiful. That's the best way to tag this out, man. That's great. The primacy recency effect. Yeah. So, what I'm going to do is I want to put your email address, your contact info in the show notes, description below. So, if anyone's interested in reaching out to Joe, picking his brain, getting that local realtor expertise, Joe's amazing to work with. I thoroughly enjoy working with him, and I know you will too. And there's also the article. I'm going to drop the article in there for
Okay.
Birchwood so that everyone can read that. And then, yeah, do you have anything coming up that you want to let people know about, or anything in any particular way you like having people reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, anyway, email's fine. I know sometimes people don't like to pick up the phone initially, and it's
Yeah.
awkward. Email me is fine. I'm pretty responsive. Send me a text message to my phone. Even if you just have questions,
Cool.
I'm more than happy to give you an earful of information. It's just because of how I am. I have a very technical background, and that's how my brain works. So I feel like I need to tell you as much as possible. I clean it up as much as I can, but I mean, I have no problems with even just answering questions, just being an advisor. Because I know sometimes people are looking into the future too. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting, you're ready now, let's talk. And, I'm going to, you know, like I care about that. Like if it's a year, 2 years, whatever down the road, you have thoughts, ideas. Sometimes renovating your house is the way to go. And,
Yeah.
and if you want advice on that, happy to tell you about that. So, or work with you. So, yeah, however you want to reach out to me is fine.
Cool.
Or even call you, and then you could
Yeah. Call me
send me.
up. Yeah. And then I'll hook you up
Yeah.
with, connected with Joe. And then also, definitely, um, subscribe to Joe's newsletter. It's awesome. I read it every week. I really appreciate it because, like you mentioned, most of the information we get is national news. And to
Yeah.
really get the look, you do a great job of putting together the analysis of the markets, of the
Mm.
counties, pending home sales, percent over list, awesome.
Yeah. Thanks,
Super
man.
helpful. And your commentary is great too. For anyone who's even just kind of mildly interested in real
Mm.
estate, it's a really great, quick, digestible Friday morning. Does it go out? Was
Yeah,
it
every Thursday afternoon.
Thursday
Thursday
afternoon?
3:30. Yeah, once a
Yeah.
week. I don't spam. It's always current, relevant information. I always write up like a popular, like what's going on that's popular. Like if the inflation report came out, or if something's trending or popular. If there's nothing going on, I'll just talk about advice. Right. I think my last
Yeah.
one, I give advice to buyers and sellers. So it's like 2 paragraphs. Right. It's not a crazy read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah, and I give the report of all the northern New Jersey counties, what's going on with those markets individually, which I think is great to see the trends. Especially if you're thinking about selling, in the next 6 months or something. It's good to see how things are moving. And yeah, and then I put a couple of articles in there. I think nothing crazy, but just all relevant stuff, right?
Yeah, you pull it all together in one spot. So if you want to go
Yeah,
adventure out, then here's a
yeah,
couple links and other articles and stuff to check out,
yeah.
which is
Short
great.
and sweet.
It's
Like
awesome.
everybody else, I'm not a big like reader. Like, oh, I'm gonna read this. I skip to the bold print, like everyone
Yep.
else. Where's the
Read.
bullet points?
Yeah. Okay. Got the gist. Moving on. Yep.
Mm.
I hear you. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great. Well, Joe, thank you so much for your time, man. Really
yeah. Thanks,
appreciate
man.
this. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
have you
Thanks.
back. I want people to know your story because it's such a cool story too. You just alluded to it a little bit about your technical background,
Oh yeah.
but we'll do this again, and would love to just exclusively just talk about your career and like
Yeah, man.
what
Yeah.
brought you in.
Anytime we could talk about any topic. So,
Awesome. Cool beans. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'll be talking to you soon.